down the football IQ of some of his critics this week after he had a subpar season opener, saying, quote, "If you know football, then you can tell someone had a solid game without having the best statistics." When specifically asked about his inability to score a touchdown at the goal line against the Bucs, Zeke added, "That's on me. We're inside the 5, me versus the DB. I got to get the ball in my left hand, so I got something to fight him off with on my inside hand. I got to find a way to get in the end zone." So, Shannon, you've already said this play, it really wasn't Zeke's fault here.
No.
So should he have taken the blame?
I mean, if you want to be a good teammate, that's what you do, Skip. You bite the bullet. You let someone run over you with the bus, and knowing that, hey, this shouldn't have happened. It's simple. Skip, the way I approached it when I blocked, and I'm not saying I was the greatest blocking tight end, but I did okay. I got tired of getting my you-know-what kick, having to block Strahan or Reggie White or Bruce Smith. So when I got my opportunity to get a safety or a corner, I was going to drive his you-know-what in the dirt because I was going to pay them. I was going to get you like your guys was doing me. Blake Jarwin is 245 pounds. That's a safety. 200 pounds. He should have drove him to Miami and dumped him on his head. He whipped Skip. He didn't even touch the guy.
He whiffed.
How?
Okay.
I get it, Zeke. You know what? That's me. I got to put the ball in my left arm, stiff arm the guy. All Blake Jarwin has to do, if Blake Jarwin just touch him just a little bit, maybe Zeke, because all Adams got to do, he's forced. If he forces Zeke back inside, he's done his job. So what you do, you attack his upfield shoulder. I don't know what this is. So this explains to me, Skip, why they didn't have no running game. Because if he can't block a safety, what do you think he's going to do with JPP? What are you going to do with Shaq Barrett if he can't block a 200-pounder?
Okay.
Zeke, you're right. I like guys, Skip, that can influence a ball game without having a catch, having a touchdown. But they do other things. If you go back and watch the tape, you and I talked about it. Watch what he does on blitz pickup. Devin White has made a lot of running backs turn it down because he's coming in there at 250 pounds and he's coming in there with bad intentions. And he normally hits a running back once, and after a while, they turn sideways. I don't want that. Zeke met him face-to-face every time he come through.
Jacked him up.
Levante David met him every time they come through.
Lit him up.
Skip, look.
Made him pay.
Zeke was in there on 70 plays.
Agreed.
They threw 58 times. What the hell you want him to do?
Yep. As he said, I had a whole lot of blitz pickup in that game.
Yes. What the hell you expect Zeke to do with 11 carries? So now y'all expect Zeke. See, that's what college has done, Skip. Because we see running backs in college have 11 carries and they have 200 yards. That ain't happening in the NFL.
No.
So I agree with you, Zeke. You had an influential ball game, even though the stats isn't indicative of how well you played. I don't care what anybody say. That was not Zeke Elliott's fault. Now, I blocked enough for a lot of guys, Skip. In my 14 years, I had 10 1,000-yard rushers. Find you the tight end that can top that. And a 2,000-yard rusher.
Okay.
You got to, Skip, a tight end has got to bury a safety 5 yards. Skip, Zeke should have walked in. Zeke should have put his hand behind his head like Deion Sanders and walked in the end zone. A tight end on a safety?
Okay, my turn. I am exactly where I was on Friday morning. I hear everything you just said about Blake Jarwin, but who is he and what is Blake Jarwin?
He's a starting tight end on an NFL football team.
Was he a high draft pick?
Shannon was even lower.
Well, not really, because wasn't he undrafted?
Was he undrafted?
I think he was undrafted out of Oklahoma State, as I recall.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my point, my bigger picture point. I get what you're saying. He flat out whiffed, and I have no idea. I can't even begin to explain.
That's all he doesn't have to do. Just don't whiff.
Okay, he got none. He didn't even get a sleeve. You know, he didn't even, brush.
Yes.
Okay, I get that. But what do we have? We have a 2-on-1 situation on the left flank.
Right.
You can just see it right away. So the play call is perfect. I can't get it any better than perfect.
Nope.
Because it's really a quick pitch to number 21 heading to the pylon, right?
Right.
It's 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. So the players in question are this sort of nobody tight end that came from nowhere.
Oh, you're talking about Blake Jarwin tight end.
Okay, Blake Jarwin. And then Andrew Adams is undrafted out of Connecticut. This is his 6th year in the league, and he started that day, Thursday, on the practice squad, and they had to activate him because they were down a safety, and during the game, they lost their other starting safety for a while. Mike Edwards went out with cramps. Okay, so they're down 2 safeties, and Andrew Adams winds up on Thursday night, opening night, solo stage football in the football game on the flank, faced up with Blake Jarwin. And I don't know what possessed Blake Jarwin, but remember now, we're talking about, what was Zeke, the 4th overall pick in the draft? Okay, so we're talking about the 4th overall pick who dominated college football, at least for 1 year, at The Ohio State University. So the 3 players in question are 2 nobodies and the 4th pick in the draft,
right,
who once upon a time would have run backward to the pylon and beaten Andrew Adams. So my problem with the whole play was, that's the highest paid running back in pro football, one-on-one in open field with Andrew Adams. And if you can't beat him, if you can't outrun him or out-juke him or out-muscle him, just drive him, talking about driving somebody to Miami, there was a time Ezekiel Elliott would have just put his head down and hit him right in the chest and knocked him into the end zone. And he's dead, like Andrew Adams is the one on the offensive. He sets the table. He makes the play. He is in attack mode.
Right.
He shuts down Zeke before Zeke can attack him.
Exactly. Because Zeke is still going sideways. Once he see it, he heads upfield. Because he knows where, I can't let him race me to the pylon. If I make him turn it back, here come Whitfield Jr., here come the rest of the posse coming from inside out. I've done my job. If he doesn't make the play, as long as I turn it back inside, because I'm fourth, he's what we call force. Look at him. He takes off right now, knowing all I got to do is make him go back inside.
The Cowboys always called it rifle force. That was your assignment on that play. You have to turn it in.
Yes.
Okay, so I get that. But I'm going to quote the great Bob Sturm of The Athletic, and he, to me, is the best one going out there and breaking down Cowboy tape. And I'm just going to read what he wrote about this play. He said, first of all, I don't know how Jarwin didn't get outside leverage on Adams to wall him off. So, bingo, gotcha. But, he goes on to write, I also don't know how Elliott can't beat one guy in space to the pylon. Bingo number 2. Not only did he not beat him, but he cut back inside into the help. Okay, got it. There was virtually no chance this was going to get in. And yes, it does call into question the speed, as Tony Pollard, obviously the backup running back, seems assured of waltzing that one in with his juice or speed.
Right.
Very disappointing, concludes Bob Sturm in The Athletic.
Think about what you just said, Skip. He started off, I don't know how Jarwin didn't get to his outside.
I don't either. I can't even begin to explain. It's like it's all completely wrong. You don't get outside leverage and you whiff. Okay.
Skip, it's like, I don't know how Skip didn't beat Shannon in that room. Shannon's at the door already. That's how Skip didn't beat me there. The reason why he didn't beat him to the corner because the guy got forced. He knows.
Okay. Now let's look at forest for the trees. Let's see the forest for the trees. The forest to me is 21 can't beat the undrafted free agent somehow, some way.
Skip.
Even what did Mike McCarthy say in his his Friday media session?
Right.
He said, I'd like to think we could get to the pylon. And he didn't say, he didn't say Zeke can get, but I'd like to think we could get to the pylon too. But Zeke doesn't have that burst anymore.
The only guy that's getting to that pylon with that guy outside leverage is Tyreek Hill. Ain't no running. Derrick Henry's not getting to the pylon.
Tony Pollard would get to the pylon. Tony Pollard has a pretty rare burst to him.
First of all, Tony Pollard don't run with the power that Zeke does.
Well, okay.
So if all I got to do, Skip, I got one responsibility as that guy, force. He's not even supposed to make the tackle unless the guy runs right there, unless Blake Jarwin does what he does.
Okay.
I've got force. If I do my job, that's my job.